Hey everyone, welcome to Season 2 of Building Cars here. These cars will be featured on the next AutoFlux games. Not all of them though, because there are so many ideas that I want to do before doing another games that I can't do like 8 cars or whatever it would be in the time that we have. It'll be a lot more than that and then we'll narrow it down. But what we're going to be doing today is fixing the Bemaro. We're going to be making a Bemaro 3.0 and we're going to be doing a Brodozer 2.0. And the reason for that is simply because the Bemaro won the AutoFlux game, so that's its reward, and the Brodozer lost, so that is its reward as well. So let's see what we can do. Here is a summary for the Bemaro. Currently, it's got 2570 horsepower. It's nearly 2,000 kilos, twin turbo V12. I think that the soul of the Bemaro is that it's got so much power. So what I want to do is I want to keep that power, but I think that we need to change things up just a little bit. So I've gone back to the basic car file. We can modify it all the way from the beginning. And yes, you'll notice I do have limos here that I definitely am planning on using in the future. But what I want to do is take some of the things that I've learned and apply them to this car. So for instance, when I made the 2.0 version, I went monocoque carbon fiber because that is lighter, and that's one thing that people have been like screaming at me for with my old videos. But I think that we need to adjust things just a little bit more here. So one thing that is not great about this car is that when I was making the 2.0 version, it unfortunately lost about, I guess it's like 300-ish horsepower. It was all the way up to 2,900 at one point. And just on stream the other day, I was able to make a V8 twin turbo that had 3,200 horsepower. So you can make a lighter engine. It doesn't even have to be a V12 that has 3,000, like over 3,000 horsepower. And that's something the Bemaro just desperately needs. I'm going to try to get it with a V12, and if I can't, we're actually going to switch to a V8, and that might change up the Bemaro significantly, but I'm hoping that it'll be better. So unfortunately, I've been messing it with it for a bit here. I managed to fix, okay, I totally did not fix the pistons, let's be honest. I've just kind of been messing with the compression and the cam profile, and also trying to balance it with the fuel mixture, which is pretty high right now, as well as ignition timing. It seems like I'm not going to be able to pass the previous amount of horsepower that I had with this size of V12. So I think what we're going to have to do is rip out the massive V12 in the Bemaro and switch it for a V8 just for that extra power, and I think it's going to be worth it. So just for reference, this is the car I was talking about. This is the one that we made on stream. This is its engine here. You can see it's a 10.5 liter, and it makes 3,191 horsepower, and I think that we can probably match that with the Bemaro. That seems like a pretty decent number for us. So in my messing around of things, I've discovered that you can fit a 12.3 liter V10 in here at 90 degree, which is interesting. I'm going to try and tune this engine to see what kind of power we can make with it. We might want to go with VVL as well, but the problem is that the 90 degree V8, the same one that we have in the Whale car, which is, yes, that is what it's called, is just not going to work. It just won't fit in this body style, so I don't know exactly why. It seems to be a height reason, but this does fit. So maybe if we go for a bigger V10, we can do something here. Okay, there we go. We're getting some numbers that are actually respectable here. We're up to 2,700 horsepower, which is excellent. So hopefully, with just a few more touch-ups, we can make it up to 3,000 or so. So one thing that I'm unsure about, I know that forged is stronger in torque than lightweight forged, but if we go, like you can see pistons here are good, but then it's negative 62% there. If we switch it to lightweight forged, it's negative 36 and negative 40, so I don't know which one is better in this case, because it seems like it just kind of balances out almost. So we're just going to leave it like that. But I've managed to get it up to 2,900 horsepower once again, which is great. So I think that the V10 engine was a good idea. We've brought back the soul of the Bemaro with a different engine, a different heart, I guess. Alright, I think that's going to be it. Unfortunately, we can't really do much else. 2,900 horsepower is not bad, and it's a pretty decent looking engine as well. I think if we just skip right ahead, like we can see the car as is, if we go to the testing, it actually weighs a little bit more. Uh-oh, might have to lighten it up a touch. Right, so I think that that's as good as it's going to get engine-wise. So we're up to 2,900 horsepower at 8,000 RPM, It's got a nice 90-degree V10. It's a 12.3 liter 90-degree V10, which is pretty big. It weighs just a touch more, but I think we're going to do a bit of a styling change as well. I do like the way that this looks, but I think that we can improve on it. And we don't need this massive hood scoop anymore because, well, the V12 doesn't stick out anymore as it has been replaced with a V10. When it comes to paint, we could paint it the same color as, oh wow, that is bright. I do like making things black. I really like the look of the Bemaro in black, but I feel that for the 3.0 version it should have a different color, just not this orange color. Let's stay away from that. Maybe, oh no, that's bad. Okay, hold on a minute. So I've gone ahead and painted it sort of a wine red, and I think that that looks good. I know the Bemaro originally was sort of a burgundy color, but this is kind of a mixture of the 2.0 and the 1.0, as it's gone for a dark red. I think it looks good. So when it comes to fixtures, one thing I do want to get rid of is this big hood scoop here. I think that the car is just better off without it, but that leaves a big empty hole in the hood that we need to do something with, which means we're totally putting a massive supercharger on there. That is perfection. No, I'm just kidding, don't worry. I think we're probably going to have to go with another type of scoop, just not the same thing that we had before. I kind of dig the look of these extra scoops up here. I think that they're going to work out well for us. They're a little muscle car-esque, but I think that they work. So I think we need to do a little bit to the front end as well. I know that in Beam that this mesh does not export correctly, so we should change it to something else. We could just make it carbon fiber. That would probably work out well, but a lot of these don't actually export into Beam correctly, so we need to find one that does. For the time being, I'm just going to go with these meshes. I like the way that the front end looks on this car. It does look a little bit saggy. Maybe these can be turned a bit. I know one thing it is missing as well is it doesn't have any signals, so we should probably change that. The thing with this car is I already fixed a lot of the issues in 2.0, but just having a chance to do it again is good. One thing we can get rid of is the trailer hitch as well. It just feels like it's missing something on the back. Not sure what. I think that might be it. All I've done is I've added a wing, just messed with that front end just a touch, and I think it might be good to go. This could be the Bemaro 3.0, at least when it comes to looks. Now we have to get to drivetrain. This is where things get even more interesting. So it currently is an all-wheel drive dual clutch. We could change that to a manual. That might, well, it does lower its drivability, but it raises its sportiness significantly. Currently it's got wheel spin issues, and we totally need to fix that. So the top speed has been lowered a little bit, which is fine. We are going to go for a lot of downforce as well, because my goodness, this thing needs to stay on the road somehow. So changing it to a manual actually does help with wheel spin a little bit, but the spacing is the issue here. We are going to have to lower it down quite a bit. The Bemaro is just a fast vehicle, and I had the spacing too high to begin with, I think. I mean, we can lower it down all the way and just see what happens. So if we have the spacing at 0, you have to get up to 210 kilometers before you really need to get out of gear 1, which is not great. But the wheel spin issue is solved. The downforce at top speed is too high, causing the suspension to bottom out. I have honestly never seen that error before. So I've got the wheels maxed when it comes to how much wheel width we can get. Tire diameter is tire diameter is maxed as well. I can't raise that anymore because it's going to complain, so we're just going to have to leave the wheels as is. The brakes themselves are decent on this car. I don't think we really need to change that. The brake bias should be good as well. So yeah, we have downforce on all the way. I guess what it's saying is that the suspension is too low or the downforce is too high. Not sure. Lowering down the wing angles is actually not helping it. We don't really need higher top speed. We want more downforce. I think that what we're going to have to do here is just kind of raise it up. I am going to put ABS on this car just because it feels necessary, and I'm going to take off the safety because I think that will help us with the added weight from the V10. I think the V10 is just physically a bigger engine, so that might be why. So we've got active sport, semi-active, passive. I think I've just done a race preset, and it says that the dampers and such are hard. Our ride height is pretty low as well. If we just raise that up all the way, yeah, it's still saying the suspension will bottom out. That's interesting. Got to figure that one out. I guess we can probably just lower the downforce. Okay, so if we lower the downforce down to 60, Our top speed has probably gone up. Yeah, it has. So we can raise this up a little bit. Okay, I think we've done it. I think that we have created the car that is worthy of be calling the Bemaro 3.0. It has transplanted its heart for a V10, and I think, yeah, it's actually lighter overall, so it should be good. It does have issues. It does not have that downforce issue anymore, so we're going to have to test it out in a bit to see how good it is. But first, let's move on and test out the truck. So the Brodozer, you probably haven't seen this one for a while. It's been a long time since I made it, and I've also not had it in automation for very long. For some reason the bed went red, and I don't know why. But these are its current specs. It currently weighs 2,820 kilos, which is a lot. It's got 400 horsepower out of a nice 8-liter, 8.1 in fact, liter 90-degree V8, so pretty decent. Now, the Brodozer struggles because it just doesn't have enough power to deal with its weight. So I think that two things that we can do to help it are lower its weight just a little bit. We don't want to lose the essence of the truck, so let's not go too low on weight. And then raise the power a bit as well. I'm thinking maybe 700 horsepower. See what we can do with a naturally aspirated V8. No turbos here. Alright, so when it comes to chassis, it is currently treated steel. If we make it... Okay, we can't make it fiberglass, and we can't make it aluminum either. So the chassis material is galvanized steel. We could make it AHS steel, which is a higher quality. It seems that would lower the weight just a little bit, but I don't know about that. It's also currently coils and leafs in the back, which is where it gets its wobbly suspension from, but that's fine, we'll just leave it as is. It doesn't need to be too good on that front. Engine-wise, this is where things get interesting. So it's a 90-degree cast iron V8, which is 8.1 liters. It's got 2 push rods, aluminum heads, and it's all cast. Interesting. So immediately we can get more power by raising the rev limit. It seems I was concerned about the pistons, but it doesn't actually do anything from what I can tell. So maybe, okay, single point EFI is not great. Let's go multi-point EFI to help that. Actually, we'll go straight to direct injection. We don't need to mess around too much here. So it's got 450 horsepower now. Let's go twin injection. And then we can start messing with some of these values here. Actually, let's go back to the top end and try and raise compression up. We can probably get a bit more out of it now. So the pistons start to knock if you happen to get past 486 horsepower. So I think what we're going to have to do is go back to the bottom end. Let's just go steel components, and we'll do heavy duty cast as well. We want some good torque. We don't really care about RPM too much. So we'll have to mess with things a little bit more here. Oh, it really likes having the cam profile. That's going to help us a lot, but you can see that the pistons are having RPM issues. Let's see, we might have to rearrange that decision I made previously. So the pistons are currently here. If we go... Okay, if we just switch straight to forged, we're going to be fine. And the conrods as well will go forged. So it's not like race spec, but it's like heavy duty truck spec, which is good. That should help us. Okay, so we've cracked 500. Let's see what else we can do here. I would like to get at least 600 horsepower. Not sure what it's going to be capable of though here. Okay, it's up to 594. That's so close to where I want to be. Just a touch of everything here and it should get there. Alright, 600 horsepower. That is pretty much exactly what I wanted to see. It seems that the headers are slightly restricting it, but we can't do much about that. I guess we could change them to long tubular. Let's just say that this person invested in some exhaust and they decided to go for some long tubular headers, and that helped out their performance quite a bit. So that should be good, actually, for that. It's a bit of an awkward looking V8, but it's a decent one. Up to 626 horsepower. That is a 200 horsepower increase for the Brodozer. That should help it quite a bit. Now when it comes to overall weight, we have actually gained a little bit of weight, so I might go back and lower some of the things here. But for now, I think it's time that we messed with it just a little bit more. I think that the body itself is good. I like the double cab, the long bed, but I think we need to change up the color. It just doesn't look right these days. So I'm thinking we go for like a checkerboard looking thing on the Bemaro, or goodness, I almost said Bemaro, the Brodozer. Two similar names. I like the black and white look. It's very odd, but I think it fits it well. I don't know how to change the color of the bed. I don't know why it's that color. It doesn't seem to be a setting here, so It's going to be red then, for whatever reason, unless we export it and it looks different. So let's change up some of the fixtures. Now, one of the issues that the Bemaro has, I mean, goodness, I'm going to keep saying that, the Brodozer has, is the lights at the back have been blacked out, and it has no turn signals at all. So let's fix that. It also doesn't have any brake lights, because I blacked out all of them. Okay, so I'm guessing that this is how these lights were originally intended to be, and we're going to leave them like that because it just makes sense. Now, the massive exhaust is cool. I like that a lot. That's one thing I wanted to definitely keep. Oddly enough, there's a hole here. I think that's where the gas cap... Oh. Interesting. There are definitely a few visual glitches on this. I don't know why that's there. I think that everything else looks okay. I know that the lights in the front here can definitely use some work, though. You know what it was missing this entire time? Some sort of badging. It needs to say Brodozer, and it needs to say it huge on the back. I like it a lot. It's a little bit uneven because I just can't seem to line up letters correctly, but it's not the worst thing ever. Maybe just a touch up here and there and it'll be perfect. I think that this kind of gloating and this like slightly left aligned text just fits the Brodozer perfectly. It's too good. So stylistically, I think we might be done with the Brodozer for now. I've kept some of the elements that just made it as it is. Stuff like this exhaust sticking out the back. We've added some stuff. We've fixed some quality of life issues like the fact that it has no turn signals on the back or brake lights, but hey. Actually, you know what? It's missing a brake light up here, so we'll add that quickly. Alright, I guess that's it. Let's move on to drivetrain now. It's a 4-wheel drive, automatic, 5-speed, and it's capable... Oh wow, okay, so it can do a little bit more speed than it previously could, but we're going to have to just mess with the spacing again. It does have an issue of wheel spin, which is unfortunate. Let's go for a vicious... or a viscous, I can't pronounce words, limited slip, and that should help us here. We can probably raise up the spacing, actually. That will help it a little bit with acceleration, but wheel spin is suddenly an issue for the Brodozer. That was not previously a thing. I think what we're going to have to do is widen the wheels, though. That'll probably fix it. We should probably give it a manual. That would help it just a little bit, and 6-speed, let's go 5-speed for now. When it comes to wheels, it's currently chunky off-road. Let's go sports compound. That'll help us a lot. Tires are blown out due to being overloaded. If we go chunky off-road, it does not have that issue. So if we go sports, we have to lower the rim size, which it actually fixes its issues. Oh, that sucks. It's unfortunate. I really wanted to have like massive rims. So we can do 29s. We can't go any bigger there. But what we can do, maybe we widen these up a little bit. We'll go 300s on the back. That's pretty wide. And 300s. I think the Ford Raptor is 315, so let's do 315 all the way around if we can. That's nice and wide. And now, something I didn't know you could do back in the day is just widen that offset. So the Brodozer's got some stance now. That's excellent. It's going to be great now. I'm really quite excited. No more wheel spin issues. Let's check the drivetrain here. Yeah, so we're pretty much set on wheel spin. With an LSD, it should be a lot better as well, especially off-road. Sports compound is definitely going to help it on the track, and we'll just have to... Let's just mess with the brakes a bit. So we definitely have kind of small brakes on this. I feel that they can definitely be bigger, especially in the front. They're currently solid discs, which is fine. If we raise this up, we should be able to get a little bit better braking. Now, we do have some errors. Yeah, it says front brake force is low compared to grip, which is kind of expected now that the Brodozer actually has grip. And it tends to oversteer, terminally oversteers. Rear ride frequency, engine bay is full. Car's issues with wheel spin, yeah, okay, we can fix that. So that should be good as is. If we go to aerodynamics... let's put an off-road skid tray on it. I know that that's going to increase weight, but that might help it. We could actually go semi-clad as well, which might help with downforce. So for interior, I know that we were trying to be more realistic with this, but for the sake of the weight of it, because it already weighs way too much, I'm going for a basic interior. It would definitely have something like fancy, but we're just going to go basic just to help it out as much as we can when it comes to weight. We could lower the seat count, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And we're going to go no safety as well, just to help with that weight as well. When it comes to suspension, this is where things get interesting. It's currently standard suspension, but I was thinking, like, I want to keep it as high as it is because it's very high, but if we switch to air suspension, is that going to help? So it does increase drivability, and if we have off-road, we can go for an off-road preset, but then raise the... Actually, we could go for a sport preset, and then just raise the suspension up. Seems like we're doing okay, but the sport preset will help with things like camber and that, which I don't want to mess with on my own. We can just stick with the presets for now, and that's pretty much it. That actually worked out well. Let's see. So it does weigh less than it did before. It's down 200 kilos, which is pretty much perfect. It's got more power. It is truly a 2.0 version. So, as this video is already probably pretty long, I think we should quickly get into Beam. Well, just see what kind of progress we've made. Are these things actually better than they used to be, or have I made them worse? Alright, so here we are in Beam. Now this is what the Bemaro 3.0 looks like exported in Beam, and you can kind of see the Bro Dozer over there. I kind of like the way it turned out. So the grills actually work, which is good. It seems that texture specifically is working, which is nice. I like the new hood scoops. I like that the rims went black. I don't know why the door handles went black, but that's okay. The spoiler looks good, and it has taken on a completely different sound. So let's just go for a quick rip here for a second. Oh yeah, now it's V10 power instead of V12. Let's see how the Bemaro does. Ooh, it's a little laggy and a little bit slippery. Coming into the trees, it's usually laggy in this game. I haven't driven these cars too much in their new iterations, but the Bemaro just feels different. Ooh, it's quick. Goodness, it's fast. And incredibly dangerous as well. It definitely feels faster than it did before, which is, I guess, what you would expect, considering it's, well, it's got a faster engine, it is lighter, and, ooh, theoretically it should be better. In the hands of somebody who's better at driving it, at least. Now, the Bro Dozer turned out a little bit interesting. It's sort of a white and a shiny black. I guess that's what I get for messing with it. Awkwardly, there seems to be a visual glitch again on the side there, and the whole bed is red. I do not know why. That's something I just genuinely don't know how to fix, so if somebody knows how to fix that, please let me know. I think that seems to be a thing with most trucks in automation, especially this body style. Now, the Bro Dozer has seen some changes as well when it comes to its driving abilities. I really like the back of it. It's so good. But let's just reset it real quick. Okay, so it sounds pretty much the same, but with 200 more horsepower, it just rips. The air suspension is a little bit less wobbly, which is good. And by a little bit, I mean like just a little bit, because it's still very wobbly. It seems to have kept its Bro Dozer sort of racing ability, which was uncanny and just dangerous. But now with sport tires and a little bit different suspension setup and 200 more horsepower, 200 kilos less, it just seems to be decent, and I'm happy with the way it turns out. I think that the red bed is something that we can probably fix. If not, that's okay. Stylistically, it's still bad, but that's kind of the point. It was never meant to be good. And, oh, it's a little tippy. I'm happy with the way that it turned out. One thing that I am interested in is to see how fast these cars are in comparison to their previous times around the track, so let's test that now. Alright, so if you are unfamiliar, in the previous season we were using this test track to test all of our cars for, well, for the fun of it. I don't exactly have a track picked out for this season yet, so we're not going to be racing on it, but we will test these cars at some other point in a different video, I guess. I'll probably just have already done it and put the times up so you'll be able to compare. But for now, we're just going to go back to the old track and compare themselves to their previous times. So the Bro Dozer in the previous run was... oh, it might actually have not run on this track at all. I think that the Bro Dozer was back when we weren't running on this track, which is a long time ago. So it's going to be setting a whole new time on here. I guess we'll be able to compare it to the previous season's cars, so we'll have an idea of where it stands. Let's see how good it will do. Alright, so starting off in the Bro Dozer 2.0, let's see what kind of time it can put down. This is his first time going around the track. I guess the last time it went around the more of a go-kart track style track, so I do not know what to expect at all. People have been complaining about my driving, and I feel that that is warranted. Now, I am using a controller. I'm just, I guess, not great at it. I don't know. I mean, I just I'm no expert driver. I'm no expert builder either. I'm not really an expert at anything, sort of just generally okay. Passable, I would say at best. But when it comes to the Bro Dozer, I think I can take it around here at a decent speed. Its brakes are only at 5, well, they were only at 5 degrees C, so that's pretty darn cold. I guess it's a cold day out here in the automation test track. They are still really cold though. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen brakes that cold, which is a good thing because that means we're going to be able to stop well, but it also is kind of curious. It's honestly quite fast. It's very controlled. Except for that one rollover we've had, there have been no other issues. Okay, so we're coming around the corner. Oh, a little bit of lag around that corner. Going to finish off this lap here. This is not exactly a speed demon, but it is pretty quick. We can definitely hit, okay, so 117. Not bad. As long as we don't roll up on this corner up here, we should be pretty much set. One thing I'm definitely considering with the next AutoFlux games is possibly doing it with at least 2 off-road events, just to help out some of the more off-roading vehicles, but at the same time, most of my vehicles are built for the track, so off-roading vehicles just kind of have an inherent disadvantage. I saw that people were also complaining that I cut the track. I'm cutting the track consistently with all cars, so it's part of the track now. Alright, here we go, gunning it all the way to the finish here. Let's see what the Brodozer 2.0 can do for a time. So that's a 15.3, and it put it up into 7th. Interesting, so it's around the likes of the mini truck. It's only a little bit slower than the mini truck, and the LMP track car is just a touch slower than it is, so that's really not bad. That is actually quite fast. So similarly speaking, the Bemaro, I mean, actually did go around this track, and its time is this one. It doesn't show the car anymore because it unfortunately had to be deleted, but it was this one. It was 2nd place on the line, I believe, with a 2:21, so let's see if we can do better than that. This might take a few tries to get, but the Bemaro 3.0 should be able to beat the Bemaro 1.0's time, which is what this is. However, the 1.0 did also have 2900 horsepower, so... Okay, setting off in the V10 3.0 Bemaro. Whoa, it's fast. I have forgotten that I can't hammer the gas in vehicles that are this powerful. Goodness, it is sliding around every corner. This is more of a warm-up lap because I do not anticipate that I'll be able to make it through. Keep it on the track there, buddy. Okay. Well, that was an interesting way to start. We made it back to the spot that we messed up last time. Coming around this corner... Oh, we're hitting the brakes pretty hard. Can kind of... Oh, okay, we just lost a wheel. One thing I've learned with these cars is you pretty much cannot hit the gas all the way. It's just a definite no. I think that the Bemaro 3.0 is doing well so far. Probably not as good as the likes of the hill climb car. Oh, as I say that, I crash into a tree. Oh, but the wheel's gonna hit the checkpoint. Okay, we made it through that junction. Goodness, that was a little bit tough there. I had to slide through it. But I think that we're going to be able to come up with a good time here. A really good time. This car is flying. It has such good torque. I really like these V10s. I don't know why I didn't use them more. I kind of just go straight for the V12s, but let's see how it does on this 2nd lap. I'm going to try and concentrate here and see what I can do. Alright, so far so good. Just have to finish this lap off, and we are set for the day. Oh, come on. There we go. And throttle all the way down. Flying into the finish. Woo, that was quick. Goodness. Yeah, no, that was really quick. The Bemaro 3.0 is significantly faster than anything we have run around the track so far. That was a really good time. It probably is also down to my abilities have been improved because I've been driving these cars so much, but my goodness, that was good. So, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the new versions of these cars in the comments. I know that the Bro Dozer is ugly, so don't bother pointing that out. It's alright, okay? That's in the spirit of the car. But yeah, next week we're going to start on some more of your ideas, and we'll see how things go at that point. I'll see you in a few days.